Hey guys, thanks for jumping back in with me. Let's talk some spiritual bypassing, all right? Because it kind of irritates the hell out of me when I meet people who are spiritual bypassing. And this is not to say that I haven't done that here and again. So what is spiritual bypassing? Spiritual bypassing is a tendency to use spiritual ideas, beliefs, or practices to avoid facing uncomfortable emotions, unresolved wounds, or difficult psychological issues. This was coined by psychologist John Welwood. It describes how spirituality can sometimes serve as a defense mechanism or an escape from addressing pain, trauma, and personal responsibility. For example, instead of working through grief, anger, or fear, you might adopt affirmations like, everything happens for a reason, or love and light solves all problems, while neglecting the emotional healing and inner work required for true growth. Though seemingly positive, this avoidance leads to shallow spiritual practices and stagnant personal development. So how does spiritual bypassing manifest? Right? How does this come about? It can show up in subtle and overt ways, often disguising itself as enlightening or high vibe behavior. Here's some examples. Using positivity as avoidance, relying heavily on affirmations or good vibes only attitudes to avoid difficult emotions. Like you might hear someone say, I don't need to be angry. I'm just going to focus on gratitude, right? It all sounds beautiful. But if you've not done the work, that's all just avoidance. You also might find someone that over-identifies with spiritual practices. They become so obsessed with spiritual practices or labels, like being labeled a healer or a light worker, to create a false sense of superiority or protection from real-world issues. Okay, so I know people like this, and they love the label of, I'm a light worker, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a psychic medium, I'm a whatever, right? And you can sense their superiority. I can feel, now that I'm pretty in touch with my intuition and that, I can feel the negativity and the energy coming from them, and it doesn't match their words. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they also will minimize other people's struggles. So they'll use spiritual concepts to dismiss or invalidate someone else's pain, right? Like something might be going down and they say, I'm too spiritually advanced to feel triggered by this. And they blame it all on like, oh, it's just that person's low vibration. Like they just blame it on other people. Like she's having so much trouble in her life because she's vibrating too low. And I don't get it because I vibrate so high. Like that kind of shit. All right. That drives me nuts. And they also may use spiritual tools like meditation or ceremony to bypass addressing unresolved traumas and emotions. An example of that would be, I don't need therapy. I'll just meditate. I'll just meditate and heal on my own. I'm not saying that meditation isn't helpful in the healing process, but it's going to take more work than that. I'm sorry. It just is. Meditation's a tool, not the cure. Okay. So you guys hear what I'm saying? You know the type of person I'm talking about right now. They're all love and light. They want to act like they're spiritual and they're, you know, a light worker, a healer, a shaman, whatever they're calling themselves. But the vibe you're feeling, go with your gut on this, guys. Because if the vibe you're feeling doesn't match that, if you're not feeling held and safe with that person and good energy, there's a good chance that person has spiritually bypassed. Get the heck out of there. Get the heck out of there till they do more work. Why is spiritual bypassing harmful? Well, listen, it can be damaging because it creates disconnection from yourself, from others, and from reality. Instead of embracing the full human experience, including its struggles, you become stagnant in denial and a superficial understanding. Emotional suppression. Suppressing your emotions doesn't make them disappear, you guys. It leads to deeper suffering, emotional outbursts, and physical illness. Literally, this happened to me. I believe that a lot of my physical illness came from all the trauma stored in my body that needed released. So there's one thing. Stunted personal growth. Avoiding pain and discomfort will prevent you from addressing and healing your core wounds, and it limit your personal development, right? You're not getting very far, is all I'm saying. Inauthentic spirituality. Real spirituality involves embracing both the light and the shadow, but spiritual bypassing creates a fragmented, shallow practice. So on the outside, you're going to look like you're doing all the things. You're meditating, you're praying, you got your crystal on your altar. You're doing all the things textbook-wise to be spiritual. But guess what? It's all surface and it's not doing any good. You're not fully connected in. You're also going to have a disconnection from others because when you invalidate others' emotions and struggles, it's going to lead to isolation and it's going to harm your relationships because nobody wants that friend. Nobody wants that partner. Am I right? No, people are going to start to, instead of being attracted to your vibe, they're going to head the other direction. They're going to be like, No, thank you. Don't like this at all. This condescending little spiritual bitch. You know what I mean? They're leaving. Listen, I'm just saying it like it is, you guys. This is my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Let me just say my favorite thing about these people. These people, again, I'm saying this might be me sometimes. I don't even know. I try not to, but I don't know. A false sense of superiority. Believing you're more spiritually advanced than others because of your avoidance perpetuates. It's an ego-driven separation. Okay? We all have an ego. And are we ever going to fully separate from our ego? Not unless you're, phase 6 and up, I guess. I don't know. I'm not there. And our ego does serve a purpose. We kind of need it here in this little human life. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but if you're being too ego-driven, but you're acting like you're more spiritually advanced than everyone around you, again, it's not going to go well. No one's going to be attracted to be around you. No one's going to listen to you. And you are not going to help raise the consciousness as a collective. Okay? It's not going to work. You're no help to all of us then. Okay? Go back to phase 2, 3, 4. Okay, so how do we avoid spiritual bypassing? You can avoid spiritual bypassing by embracing a more grounded, authentic, and holistic approach to spirituality. A practice that acknowledges and integrates all the parts of yourself, including discomfort, wounds, and emotions. Here's some key strategies, you guys, to avoid this. You're going to need to practice radical honesty with yourself about your feelings and inner struggles. True spirituality honors the full spectrum of emotions: joy, sadness, fear, anger, and everything in between. You're going to need to take actions on your emotions. So when emotions arise, you're going to need to pause and reflect instead of judging or dismissing them. You got to start asking, what is this teaching me? Why am I feeling this way? In other words, you're going to have to feel the fucking feelings and identify what's going on, aka doing the work, right? You're going to need to do that shadow work. Sorry. It's going to involve identifying and consciously working with the repressed, hidden aspects of yourself, like guilt, shame, fear, anger. You're going to have to face your shadow, and then it's going to allow for that deeper healing and transformation. So what do you need to do? You need to probably do some reflection practices like journaling, therapy. You're going to have to explore your fears, your triggers, and parts of yourself you've been unwilling to look at. And can you do it on your own? Yes. Should you? Absolutely fucking not. You're going to need a trusted friend, a therapist, a mentor, spiritual or not. You're going to need a little help with this one. Another thing you can do, balance your spiritual practice with emotional and psychological work. So meditation, affirmation rituals, all super valuable spiritual tools, but they have to be paired with some deeper self-reflection, emotional healing, and accountability. We can't just do all the woo-woo and nothing else. Again, I recommend IFS therapy, some type of a somatic therapy maybe. They seem to work really well. That's just my personal opinion. And I actually have someone coming on. We're gonna dig into IFS much deeper, so stay tuned. And another thing you need to make sure you don't do is avoid escaping through positivity. There is toxic positivity, you guys. It can be powerful, but it should not be used to bypass negative emotions or situations. Instead of suppressing pain, work towards transforming it through self-awareness, acceptance, and action. You could replace a phrase like, just be positive, just be high vibe, with, how can I explore and work through this discomfort? So basically, instead of saying, I'm just going to keep it positive, I'm going to keep it high, when they go low, I go high, instead of all that business all the time, why don't you just stop and feel your fucking feelings, right? And then figure them out. Why do I feel this way? What am I going to do to not keep feeling this way? Feel the damn feelings. And you can always know I'm going to recommend grounding. You got to stay grounded. Okay. We cannot transcend this human experience, right? It is what it is. We're human. So we've got to stay grounded so we can stay connected to ourselves and to reality, right? We can't be woo-woo out in outer space, astral projecting all the time, right? We came here to be human. We got to be human. Engage in grounding practices, walking in nature, breath work, deep breathing, get your crystals out, do some mindfulness, stay grounded out there, guys. Stay grounded. Be aware of your ego in the spiritual journey, and stop thinking you're more awakened than others. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you think you are way more awake than everyone around you, and for some reason you have a bigger piece of God inside of you than everybody else got, you didn't. You didn't. We all got the same piece. Even the asshole that lives next door to you, we all got the same piece. So if you're thinking that, you're bypassing. I'll just say it, you're bypassing. Okay. And another good thing to do is just surround yourself with individuals or communities who value authentic spirituality and encourage addressing emotions and real life complexities rather than skimming over them. So join some groups, you guys, or find a mentor that emphasizes both light and shadow work and encourages like a holistic growth pattern. And if you join these groups and they start feeling, if you're not feeling it, walk away. It's okay. We are in charge of our own life and our own path. Remember the boundaries? Remember we're saying no more? So go check out a new class. Go check out a new thing. Get a reading with someone new. But if it doesn't feel right, it's not right for you. Get out. Go find someone new. There's so many people on this earth. Go out and find somebody new. You will find your right tribe, your right group, and your right mentor. And I'm trying to bring a lot of them to you here on the show. So hopefully you'll connect with someone you're hearing and you'll reach out to them. Let me give you one example of two different ways you could handle something. One feels like someone who's spiritual bypassing with you, and one feels authentic. So here's the deal. Let's say you have a close friend that opens up about feeling depressed, right? Their life's in the shitter. Nothing's going their way. They've come to you for help, right? Because you're spiritual and they want your advice. And you say to them something like, you just need to look on the bright side. Everything's going to be fine. Your spirit team is here with you. Don't even worry about it. It's all love and light. Blah, 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 blah. That person is a spiritual bypasser. That's not how you handle that. How would you handle that friend? What you need to do is you just listen. You listen compassionately and you validate their feelings. All right. So you say to your friend Susie, that fucking sucks. That really, really sucks. I hate this for you. And then you don't offer a quick fix because honestly, you don't know how to fix Sue's life. Do you? No, you don't. But you can just ask how they're feeling. And you can ask them, is there anything I can do? How can I support you? And they may not know how you can support them. And you know what you do? You just be there. And at some point, they may figure out what they need from you, and then they'll verbalize it to you. But until then, you're just present. You're just there. You're just holding space, witnessing for them, and saying, let me know what you need. Now, you can tag on to that something like, I don't know, girl, you want to go to the sound bath with me this weekend? Something like that. You could say, oh, God, girl, I'm going to meditate on this for you. I'm going to meditate and pray on this for you because I don't know what the answer is, but this fucking sucks. That is not spiritual bypassing. That's you speaking from your heart authentically. All right? No more of this bullshit. No more of just solid love and light. It's going to be fine. It doesn't matter. It's all good. No, that doesn't help anybody. So, I don't know. After you just listen to that, do you know which person you are? I hope you're the second person. If you're not, stop your damn spiritual bypassing and get doing the work. I don't know. That's what I got to say because there's nothing that pisses me off more than meeting someone that I held in high regard because I thought they were spiritually much further than me and love and light. And I thought I would get so much insight. And then it hits me and I feel that negative vibe in the pit of my stomach. And I'm like, this bitch has not done the work. And I really wish she would because I like her and I want to hang out with her, but I don't think I can. Not until she figures her shit out. So don't be that friend. Don't be that person. All right, I've been ranting about this spiritual bypassing long enough. So anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you learned something from the previous episode. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it about the phases of a spiritual awakening and make sure that as you head through them, you don't do any of this spiritual bypassing bullshit. All right, see you next week. Listen, I know your time is valuable. And right now, I'm feeling super grateful and totally humbled that you chose to hang out with me today. If this podcast resonates with you, could you do me a solid and hit that subscribe or follow button? That's going to help you out because you're never going to miss an episode. And it helps me out because you're never going to miss an episode. And if you have like 30 seconds more, could you leave a 5-star rating and maybe leave a kick-ass review? Thank you so much, and I can't wait to continue our journey on the next episode. Oh, and I can't forget the fine print. You know, the legal jargon. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just two friends on this journey together, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. You get it. See you next time.